AYANEO is back with their latest Android handheld, the AYANEO Pocket S. In our review we will discuss all of the usuals, including the most important part, the benchmarks. How does it perform against the current king, the AYN Odin 2? Is the extra cost worth the performance difference? Let's find out and keep watching for our new gameplay songs. Let us know in the comments what style you would like to hear in the next one. Nice packaging as always from AYANEO. Inside we first have the Pocket S handheld itself. We will take a closer look at it in a moment. Underneath is an envelope containing user guides for the Pocket S and the software in both English and Chinese. Inside the box is a USB Type-C cable for charging. The AYANEO Pocket S measures around 8.42 by 3.3 by 0.55 inches and weighs 350 grams. It is available in two colours, Obsidian Black and Ice Soul White, along with a choice of display resolutions. The display is a 6-inch borderless IPS mirror touchscreen. You have a choice of 1920 by 1080 or 2560 by 1440. The model we are reviewing is the latter. You have all of the usual controls, including AYANEO's master controller and Hall effect analogues. There are two additional buttons for the AYANEO Space Overlay and Home Screen. On the left side is a covered micro SD card reader, and on the right is a switch which changes the performance modes. Along the top we have shoulder and triggers and small macro buttons beside them which are configurable in the iSpace software. There are volume buttons and a power button which has an integrated fingerprint scanner. And on the bottom is a USB 3.2 Type-C port for charging and data. The AYANEO Pocket S features the Qualcomm Snapdragon G3X Gen 2 processor. It's the first time we have seen this processor in a handheld, so it will be interesting to see how it compares with the processor found in the AYN Odin 2. There are options of 12 or 16 gigs LPDDR5 RAM, and for storage there are options for 128 gigs, 512 or 1TB of built-in storage. The new Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.3 provides your communications and is backward compatible with older Wi-Fi 6 routers, for example. Powering it all is a 6000 mAh rechargeable battery. In our battery life test whilst running Antutu benchmark on the loop we got 2 hours 16 minutes. You will get around 6 to 8 hours on average use. We got a highest fan noise of 65 decibels and highest temperature of 49 degrees C. Running on Android 13 means we have a fairly up-to-date OS. Aya have their own home screen launcher as well as iSpace for various tweaks and settings. Since we reviewed the first Android handheld, the AYANEO Pocket Air, I couldn't see much difference or improvements. The home software is decent enough with easy access to your apps and the ability to import your retro gaming setup into a game browser, but it will require some setting up. The iSpace software includes an overlay feature giving you quick access to commonly used shortcuts, settings, etc. From here you can change the performance levels, fan speed, take screenshots and so on. It all works fine and I have no real complaints. But what it is worth noting is there is still no screen mapping feature to map the controller to on-screen touches. This was supposed to be coming a long time ago for the Pocket Air and we are still waiting. Even budget Android handhelds have this feature, and I think this is quite a large one to be missing from a premium handheld. As we have the 1440p display model, we have used some software to change the resolution to 1080p, so we can roughly compare the performance with the Odin 2 which has a 1080p resolution. Please keep in mind that actual 1080p resolution model may have different scores. We will update our review with actual scores when we can test that model. Our first benchmark is with Geekbench 5 and 6. They test the single and multi-core performance of the processor. On Geekbench 5 we got scores of 1427 and 4172 at 1440p, and a bit higher at 1080p with 1535 and 4739 respectively. Interestingly, the Odin 2 still has higher multi-core scores against both resolutions of the Pocket S. And on Geekbench 6 we again see the Pocket S narrowly take the lead in single core performance and fall behind in multi-core performance by a fair amount. Next we have Antutu, which performs a range of tests from UI speed to gaming performance. We got roughly the same scores at both 1080p and 1440p, both higher than the Odin 2. 3D Mark tests the performance of the CPU and GPU working together. In the Slingshot benchmark, the Pocket S maxed out the score as we expected. In the more demanding Wildlife Extreme benchmark, we get scores of 3,937 at 1440p and 4,314 at 1080p. There's a nice jump in performance there. For 1440p resolution, keeping in mind that Odin 2 is 1080p, we see fairly small differences in performance for the Pocket S. 3% for Antutu, lower differences in Geekbench and just 6% in Wildlife Extreme. When at 1080p, and do remember these are from adjusting the resolutions, may not be 100% accurate. In Geekbench 5 we see a 3% difference in favour of the Pocket S for single core, and for multi-core we see a 6% difference in favour of the Odin 2. And for Geekbench 6 we see a 3% higher difference for the Pocket S single core performance, and 2% lower difference in multi-core compared to the Odin 2. For Antutu we again see a small 3% difference in performance in favour of the Pocket S. And for 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme we see a much larger 15% difference in performance. Overall, the AYANEO Pocket S does come out on top of the 1080p comparisons. There are small margins in general usage, but on GPU heavy usage there is a larger gap in performance. Having the higher 1440p resolution does mean more pixels to push, and games and upscaled emulators do look great on it. Here are some games we tried that have support for gamepads. As mentioned, there is no screen mapping support yet, so it's either touchscreen or gamepad with nothing in between.
In the realm of Valhalla, in Valhallas Call, fighters clash and spirits dash in battles big and small. With a sword or axe in hand, across the sky they brawl. Legends of the great fight stand, aiming to enthrall. Dan the man with a powerful plan fights through the land, punching and kicking, his moves quite slick against evil bands. Coins he'll collect and foes he'll eject with his bare hands. A hero's journey with no corner empty in the arcade sands. Sneak and peek in a game of hide and seek with hello neighbor. Mysteries around in a house where sour of strange behavior. Creep through the dark, make not a mark as you seek the truth. Uncover secrets behind locked doors in the eerie youth. Race around the world in horizon chase with speed unbound. Classic cars and distant stars on tracks that astound. Turbo fast, the landscapes blast in a retro arcade race. Cross the finish line in record time in this thrilling chase. In the night where vampires bite, it's vampire survivors' plight. Hordes come forth from the south and north under the moonlight. They cross the whip, fight the eclipse till the dawn's first light. Survive the curse with each diverse verse in the endless fight.
We know from the AYN Odin 2 that these newer Snapdragon processors are great for emulation. We saw that the now sadly departed Yuzu was even able to run some games at great speeds. Before we check that emulator out, let's have a quick look at some older consoles and work our way up to the newer ones.
Speeding through the city streets, adrenaline's our friend. Nitrous burning rubber as we drift around each bend. Crashing into glory where the thrill will never end.
Pixels from the past in the palm of our hands. Retro worlds reborn from consoles and no lands. Nostalgia's magic touch as we make our own commands.
Ferrari blazing, chasing sunsets by the sea. Palms swaying, waves are calling, feel the wind so wild and free. Endless roads and endless dreams, this is where we're meant to be.
8-bit heroes running in the modern sleek display. Handheld time machines where old meets new today. Classic games revive with every button press we play.
Chains of fate and destiny, Kratos fights with all his might. Gods and monsters face him in the darkness and the light. Warriors heart unbroken in Olympus' endless night.
Portable adventures from arcades to RPGs. Reliving golden eras with emulators keys. Handheld dreams fulfilled with timeless memories.
Racing past the future through the echoes of the past. Blue blur but spinning faster, always pushing to the last. Two Sonics side by side, speed and memory amassed.
From arcades to consoles, history in our grasp. Every game we loved, moments we still clasp. Emulation magic, forever will it last.
Neon lights and laser beams, in a trance we play the game. Geometry in motion, every level, every frame. Arcade thrills from yesteryear shining bright just like a flame.
Pixel art and chiptunes from a bygone day. Handheld screens illuminate the games we love to play. Retro vibes reborn in a modern way.
Engines roar and colors flash, across the world we race. Through cities, jungles, mountains, always at a breakneck pace. Victory and madness in this wild, relentless chase.
Portable delight with the retro flair. Playing all the greats, anytime, anywhere. Handhelds hold the magic of games beyond compare.
There's no denying that the AYANEO Pocket S visually looks amazing. It looks like a mobile device with a single glass panel on the front, but it has built-in controls. If you rest your middle fingers on the bottom of the trigger button grips and small fingers used as support on the bottom, it's fairly comfortable and a secure enough grip. The Odin 2 perhaps does not look as fancy, but I do prefer the additional grip at the bottom, which makes it feel comfortable and secure. The Pocket S wins in design, but the Odin 2 just feels more comfortable to actually game on. In terms of performance, the Pocket S overall wins here. We generally see small gaps in performance unless it's GPU demanding, and there it could be up to 15% difference. Something to consider though, do you actually need the extra performance when emulators like Ether SX2, Citra and Juzu are discontinued? And now the price. You're looking at around $30 and pounds extra for the Pocket S over the Odin 2, which both have 16GB RAM and 512GB storage. But at the lowest models you can save as much as $80 or pounds, which is a considerable saving. The main factors really come down to the design and price for me personally. The Pocket S looks amazing, but it's not as comfortable to play on as the Odin 2. The performance is not so much a factor as there's not a large gap and nothing will really benefit from it on the Pocket S. Which one would you choose and why? Let us know in the comments. You can learn more and order the AYANEO Pocket S from us at DROIX.co.uk and DROIX.net for worldwide shipping. Use the discount code POCKETS5OFF on the checkout for 5% off. The code is valid for 1 month of this review being posted and cannot be used during store sales or promotions. Thanks for watching our AYANEO Pocket S review. We hope you have found it useful. Please take a moment to subscribe to keep up to date with our latest reviews. See you in the next one.
Need gadgets, games and more to play. Handhelds, PCs come our way. From retro vibes to mini might, DROIX has it all, shining bright. Buy from DROIX.co.uk and DROIX.net. Get the best gadget you can get. DROIX is where tech dreams are set. gaming gadgets. Don't forget, for all your tech, don't delay. DROIX is the place. Shop today.